Hello and welcome to a new episode by Flyboys Aviation. Today's episode is about why the McDonnell Douglas MD-11 was essentially a failure. When it was first released almost 30 years ago, it was one of the most advanced aircraft in the skies. It never fulfilled its promises, however. As a result, many airlines were unhappy with the aircraft. This video explains how this all came to be. By the late 80s, the DC-10 had been flying around for quite some time. Orders were drying up and McDonnell Douglas needed a new long-haul plane to reinvigorate the company. That's why they started development of the MD-11. Cynics could argue that it was nothing more than a stretched DC-10, but this is not the case. It had a redesigned wing, new engines, and new avionics that negated the need for a flight engineer. During development, McDonnell Douglas was already experiencing financial difficulties, and as a result, the development costs were kept as low as possible. Maybe that's why problems arose later on. Because when it was introduced in 1990, it quickly became apparent that it was not meeting performance expectations. The Pratt & Whitney engines that powered some MD-11s were unreliable. The fuel consumption was higher than expected, the actual range of the aircraft was lower than expected. In the case of American Airlines, this meant they couldn't start their Dallas to Hong Kong route. They were so displeased with the MD-11 that they sold all 19 of them to FedEx in 1995. Just a couple of years after receiving them. Singapore Airlines cancelled their MD-11 order because of these range issues as well. A performance improvement package rectified all of the original problems, but it was too little too late. But the real nail in the coffin of the MD-11 was the advent of the Airbus A330 and 40 and the Boeing 777. Both were much more efficient designs than the MD-11. In the case of the A330 and 777, 2 engines, as opposed to 3, meant lower maintenance costs as well. It seems that the MD-11 was a classic case of bad timing. Although one could also argue that the lack of innovation that McDonnell Douglas had shown came back to bite them later on. The fact that the aircraft was notoriously difficult to handle, which resulted in a number of landing incidents, didn't help either. McDonnell Douglas, now in dire straits, was bought by Boeing in 1997. Boeing wasn't interested in keeping the line open for such a low production rate and announced they would build all the ordered aircraft but would not accept new orders. This meant that the last passenger MD-11 was delivered to Sabena in 1998, the last cargo version to Lufthansa in 2001. Nowadays, MD-11s can only be seen carrying cargo. FedEx still has dozens of them. KLM was the last airline to operate the passenger version of the MD-11, retiring them in 2014. Low lease rates as well as improved performance that came with later models of the MD-11 meant that KLM could operate them profitably for a longer time than other airlines. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. On my channel you will find a new video every week that delves deeper into the fascinating world of aviation and offers you new insights. See you around!